Today in the nerdy news you need to know about, PlayStation VR2 is coming to PC, kind of. Naughty Dog doesn't want to be the Last of Us studio forever, and don't expect Kingdom Hearts 4 at SGF. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Monday, June 3rd, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. the New York Game Awards nominated, a.k.a. the OK Beast, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Can I say that you nail the intro every single time?
Appreciate that. You know what I mean? I feel like it's very much like if you can get that out and you can do that, you're going to have a good show.
Yeah, you're smooth sailing for the rest of it.
You said it right there because they know you're going to flub stuff and screw things up the rest of the way, make off-color jokes. You know what I mean?
Of course. Maybe about a certain tragedy. Who knows?
Dude, the people are with me now. My TikTok algorithm and Instagram algorithm is the same tragedy with all sorts of jokes about it. You ever see that? You know what I mean?
No, I don't get that.
I got to send you some of the good ones I got. Barrett, I got a great one for you. Great one for you, Barrett. It's like
what does that mean?
Bands in 2024 complaining about how they have to do goofy things on TikTok for attention, right? And it's them like doing weird dances or whatever. And then it goes bands in 2001. It's them just on a couch watching that. Like, that's like the trend right now that I've
seen the same stuff. And it's the one I see is like, what the fuck was it? It was essentially like, what I was listening to in 2021.
Yeah.
What I was listening to in 2011. And then what I was listening to in 2001. And it cuts to a parent looking at the TV like, no.
Yeah. I saw another one too that was about fashion or whatever, where it was, oh man, if you're wearing skinny jeans right now, it's terrible. And then it was, whatever. And then, skinny jeans are out. It's all about these things. And then it was all the way back, Mom, can I have Pokemon shoes? And it was Mom one. It's like, I don't have time for this right now. We got to be able to laugh about it. You know what I mean? Blessing.
Greg.
You always take the fashion game to another level. And I know you don't think you do anything. But what is going on? Can I touch this sweatshirt?
Yeah, go for it. What's funny is that
this sweatshirt
I've had
a lot.
the sweatshirt for a very long time. Yeah. Like this is one that I've had for maybe a decade. And I don't wear it that often, but every single time I do wear it, people are like, that's a really good sweatshirt. And I'm like, I'm glad it's holding up.
Get it into the rotation.
Yeah.
But I guess then you could wear it out. Then you wear it out. Yeah, because you got a loose string back there. Yeah.
I like
but that also like
today.
Thank you. Yeet. But I mean like that's the thing is it looks like it's been worn, like it's one of those things you'd buy pre-worn. Not from a vintage shop. It looks like something you would buy now that they've weathered. That's what I'm looking for.
It's like a lived-in sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
That.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Can I ask what you've been playing lately? Because I feel like it's not a down period for video games, but I feel like I have no idea what you're playing.
You know
nowadays.
what I think a great way to describe it is right now is a like when you're in school and you have a free time. You have free time.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Color your books. Do your things. So what I've been doing is I had done the Starfield. Well, I'd done the Fallout 76 bender, right? Then they put out the Starfield patch, and I really like that, so I did a Starfield bender. And then when we were getting ready to do the stream for Fallout, I came back to Fallout 76 and did more of that. And so I have been most recently playing Fallout 76, but I am currently psyching myself up for Diablo, where I need to go back to Diablo and do more with this loot season. You know what I mean?
Can I put you onto a game?
Yes,
and it's not going to
please.
be me putting you onto a game. It's more so going to be me passing Barrett, putting me onto a game,
Sure.
putting you onto a game.
Oh, okay.
1,000 X Resist is your shit. Like I am, Barrett's applauding.
Yeah.
I am like...
He has a great review up. You can go check it out on youtube.com/kindafunny, our highlights channel.
I started
9.5 out of 10 on the Kinda Funny scale.
Wow.
I started playing it because I heard Barrett was talking about it,
Yeah.
and then I've seen people on Twitter, and then I've seen...
I got it because of Barrett. When Barrett was like, yo, Greg, and I went and got it. But the problem is like out of sight, out of mind, where it's on my Switch.
Yeah.
And so I never turn my fucking Switch on. So it sits there. And I know there's like 3 games stacked up on Switch I know I need to play.
Michael Hyam, I was talking to him about it last week, and he was talking about...
I saw his tweets about it. He thought...
he reviewed it for IGN, gave it a 9 out of 10 for IGN. And the way he was talking about it, he was talking about how it felt like a mixture between a bunch of games that both of us love, right? He says there's a bit of Nier in there. He says there's a bit of like... other games here and there, but like as I'm playing it, I am shocked by how much I am getting some Life is Strange vibes.
Yeah,
just in terms of like how emotionally resonant it is, what it goes for in terms of like how they're building the characters and like it is centered around just normal people, right? Like I think I was going into it just because of the art style.
It looks so anime futuristic weirdo. Yeah,
like I thought it was going to be that, and I'm playing it. I'm like, oh no, this is way more akin to something like a Life is Strange narrative thing, combined with a lot of the sensibilities and themes of a Nier when it comes to like what makes us people and
correct
stuff like
me if
that.
I'm wrong. It's a visual novel, right? Like,
It's it's not a visual novel. It's like it's a narrative game. You are running around doing things, but like there's not really any action or anything that's like involved in that way. You're more so walking around talking to people, but then also you're exploring spaces. There's like one little like action mini game that I've gotten so far that has you like zipping from point to point.
Okay.
But it's not like an actiony thing. It is all narrative, talking to people, exploring.
It's a great reminder. I tell you what, I can do the Diablo stuff at work, and I'll start committing to this because of you and Barrett, of course. Mainly Barrett.
I think you'll like it.
Good. I better. Because it looks weird. But I like weird.
It's the kind of weird I think you dig.
Okay. Cool.
It's weird, but very emotional. Emotionally, God, what's the fucking word?
Resonant.
Resonant, thank you.
Here's my question for you, and this sounds stupid based on everything you just said, but I want to verify, because this, again, is my Switch problem. This is something that needs my full attention, correct? Like, this isn't something you play on the couch.
This is not something you're watching. Yeah.
See, as always, that's been the useful thing with my Portal, right? Where Portal is so great for. I'm in 76, Jen's watching Bridgerton, and then... Well, we watched this Ashley Madison's miniseries.
I've been hearing a lot about it.
It's good. Yeah. It's good. So it's like I actually last night I didn't play it all. I just sat. I was on the couch. I had hurt my ribs. I'm like, Jen, can you bring me the Portal? And she brought me the Portal. And then she started this. Like, well, fuck the Portal. I'm like, I don't need to worry about the Wasteland right now. This is happening.
The nice thing about 1000 X Resist is that it's chapter based, and so I've been doing just one chapter a day, and it's very manageable that way.
Okay.
All voice acted too.
How long are we looking at, Barrett?
I've seen people say it's like 13 to 14 hours for them. I think I finished it in like 11.
Real gamer.
So
real gamer right there, real ass gamer.
And I think I could have. My biggest critique is that there's a kind of hub area that you hang out with. I feel like my 11-hour playthrough could have been like 9 hours if I wasn't getting so lost in that hub area, because there isn't like a straight up map. You have to kind of spend time getting familiar.
It is like, one of the weirdest designed spaces.
It's definitely one of those like, right, this is their first game.
Yeah.
That's
wow, that's impressive though for that, the scores and how much you love it.
And and like the development team is just like a bunch of artists from Canada who have like never made a game before, and like they're all in different aspects of performative art. And then during the pandemic, they're like, let's try and make a game.
Hell yeah.
They fucking nailed it.
Yeah, they killed it.
All right, 1000 X Resist, everybody. Switch and PC?
I'm playing on PC. Is it on Switch?
Yeah, that's where I have it.
Okay.
Those are the two platforms, though, right? I know no PlayStation.
Correct.
No Xbox. Okay, cool. Well, there's your recommendation, but let's talk about the nerdy news you need to know about, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, Twitch, YouTube, and podcast services around the globe. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about live. If you love that, we love you. Why not support us with the Kind of Funny membership? For $10, you get to say, hey, this is great content. Thanks for killing yourself all week for SGF predictions, going to LA, reacting to all the different showcases, giving up your Sunday to come in here and talk about Xbox and Call of Duty, getting ready on Monday for Ubisoft. Of course, you can give us that membership on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or patreon.com/kindoffunny. Of course, you in return would get good karma alongside all of our programs ad-free. The ability to watch us record our shows in the afternoon live as we record them. You got 2 today, but more about that in a second. And of course, my daily video vlog podcast series, Gregway. Of course, no bucks tossed our way, no big deal. Like, subscribe, share, follow, use your Twitch Prime on Amazon Prime and all that jazz to support us and keep the show going. Most importantly for this show, if you want to be part of it, YouTube SuperChats. That's where you can ask your questions, comment on the news, and be part of the program. Housekeeping. Today, after Kind of Funny Games Daily, you are going to get the GAMESCAST. That is our Summer Game Fest predictions. This is us predicting what will happen at Geoff Keighley's press conference on Friday. Throughout the week, you will also get tomorrow an embargoed preview, then Xbox, Ubisoft, and then our actual watch-along and post-show reactions to SGF on Friday. The stream today is also going to be Elden Ring with Andy, Nick, and Mike. They're out there doing their co-op thing, and they'll be doing that all week long.
Can you believe it's been like almost a year and a half since they last actually played that?
No, I cannot. But they're getting ready for the DLC,
I could have
right?
sworn the last time it was like 3 months ago. You know,
outrageous. If you're a Kind of Funny member, you can get today's Gregway soon. It's going to be about Cole. Somebody wrote in asking me about how the new Wiener Dog's going, so we'll talk about that. Then, of course, you can watch our reaction to the new Venom trailer live. That's right. Tim and I are doing that after the GamesCast but it'll only be for the patron people. So go over there, or membership people. So go over there or YouTube. You'll get your links. And of course, you can watch us record the Kind of Funny podcast this afternoon if you have a membership. That will all be out later for people to enjoy. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Kieran Hovasapian, Carl Jacobs, Fargo Brady, and Delaney Twining. Today, we're brought to you by Ponkel, developer of Vampire Survivors, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news! Six items!
A baker's dozen.
Some good Monday energy right there.
I mean, this is fucking Christmas week for us.
It is.
I really feel like you have, in terms of content weeks, 2 content weeks that are the best time. And it's weird how E3 has evolved, changed, become SGF. So it's not the same, but it is the same, where it's like, you look at this week with the predictions, the embargoed thing tomorrow, stellar lineup of content, let alone what Games Daily will be each and every day. Then you figure you get to Friday, where the week would normally end, and that's really where it goes into high gear.
That's where it begins.
Exactly. We do the reaction to Geoff show, we go to LA to see a bunch of games, Xbox on Sunday, Ubisoft on Monday, and then you're into another week of us talking about all the stuff we saw as embargoes happen, all the crazy shit that happens. I love SGF week. I feel good about it.
I mean, Geoff Keighley, he's kind of like, he's tempering expectations. I don't know if you've seen the tweets and the videos.
I mean,
we'll get to it in story number 2.
Okay, cool. Let's get to it there. We'll talk about it. Yeah, I think that'll also be the GAMESCAST of like predictions.
That's true.
Because we'll get to it. Instead, let's talk about the great news. PlayStation VR2 is coming to PC, which means you'll finally be able to play Half-Life Alyx with all the haptics and the... Oh, none of those features. Oh. Okay, We read from the PlayStation blog. When PlayStation VR2 launched last year, we were thrilled to introduce PS5 players to a new generation of VR games with innovative gameplay and immersive sensory features. Inspired by our passion to bring gamers even more content options, we've been working to enable access to additional games on PC, complementing the diverse PSVR2 games lineup available on PS5. Today, we're happy to share that we'll be rolling this support out on August 7th. Players will have access to buy and play Steam's expansive library of thousands of VR games, including fan favorites like Half-Life Alyx, Fallout 4 VR, and War Thunder. To start, players will need to purchase a PlayStation VR2 PC adapter, which will be available for the estimated retail price of $59.99. Players will also need a commercially available DisplayPort cable, sold separately, that is compatible with DisplayPort 1.4, as well as a Steam account and a PC that meets the minimum requirements. Setup is easy. Simply connect the PlayStation VR2 to your PC using the PSVR2 PC adapter and the DisplayPort 1.4 cable. Then download the PSVR2 app and the Steam VR app from Steam. This will allow you to set up PlayStation VR2 on your PC, customize your settings and play area, and start purchasing and playing games on Steam VR. PSVR 2 was designed from the ground up specifically for the PlayStation 5. So you'll notice that some key features like HDR, headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, and haptic feedback, other than rumble, are not available when playing on PC. However, other high-fidelity and sensory immersion features of PlayStation VR 2 are supported, including 4K visuals, 2000 by 2040 per eye, 110-degree view of field, finger touch detection, and see-through view, as well as foveated rendering without eye tracking, and 3D audio supported games. 3D audio is in supported games. Additionally, as part of the Days of Play celebration, players in select regions can get $100 off PSVR 2 and the PSVR 2 Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle for PlayStation 5 until June 12th.
See, Greg? PlayStation supporting the PSVR 2. It's still alive. We, the VR gamers, are going to rise up.
It's like one of those things where it's like I was already sick of the PSVR 2 discourse before we got to the State of Play. Then on State of Play, we had our honest conversations and our honest thoughts. Then that brought up a whole new beehive of people being like, well, you're crazy.
Let me tell you, this weekend, like on Friday, I did the Zalavier Nelson interview, which was like such a good interview. You should go check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. But in that interview, we dive into like diversity in video games and being black in the games industry. And like usually when we get into those kind of topics, my fucking Twitter mentions or like, YouTube comments will be very like, aggressive, very like it'll get racist, it'll get toxic in there.
Yeah.
And I was expecting this weekend to see quite a bit of that, and I didn't. What I did see was a bunch of PSVR2 fans in my mentions all weekend, the entire weekend, just being like, "Oh, they're crazy. Oh, they never talked about Gran Turismo 7, motherfuckers. I talked about Gran Turismo 7, how much I love it. Like, it's insane to me.
I understand.
So passionate.
It's always that crazy thing to me, where this is video games in general, right? But we can all look at the same thing. In art's a different thing. Hellblade 2, I don't think lives up to it. I've seen so many people out and retweet. It's like, okay, cool. You love that game. I get it. You're forgiving and passing things here. It's more the fact of looking at the facts, and I think personally how we present them. And yes, I can be over the top. I'm aware. And yes, I can say things and be very fired up. But like, Barrett, I just put into assets a tweet. Can you throw it up? I got this today. So scroll up. It's the here it is, everybody. It's coming to PC, and I get this tweet from someone I assume is nice, who just says, "Hey, Game Over, Greggy. Here's a live look at the PlayStation VR2."
Hold on, let me take it. Here's a live look at PSVR 2,
and it's under the Undertaker GIF, one of them, of him opening the casket and sitting up out of it. And it's like, I don't understand how you can listen to us talk about it, because of course last week when we talked about this, I was very frank before the showcase and then definitely after it, right? Or State of Play, where I was like, I think they're going to do this PC thing just to move the hardware and be done with it. Get this out of our things, get it out of our warehouses. I said State of Play would be the thing where if they had VR games with IP, it would be PlayStation saying, no, we're here for this. And if not, it's them trying to get this shit out, sell it to PC people, open it up for people who already own it, sure, so you can play other things. Like, I don't understand how you can read the blog post, read all the caveats I just went through, right? Of like $60, you got to get this cord, which I'm sure isn't hard to get, a DisplayPort cord. I'm not, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not a PC gamer.
I'll look it up right now on Amazon.
Exactly. I'm not even talking about money. Just do you have it sitting around? But then to go in and be like, okay, no, the stuff that was so fucking cool about PlayStation VR 2, right? HDR, headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, haptic feedback, right?
Oh,
like
this cord. I have this cord. Yeah.
Let me see it.
It's it's the one I.
Okay, sure, yeah. So you have it. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, to read through all of that and then read that and be like, PlayStation VR 2 is back from the dead. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you fucking talking about? Again, like, if I was, like, I just don't understand who's looking at this. I guess it's a win if you already have PlayStation VR 2.
That's what I was going to say. I saw this news, even with the caveats, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I can play Half-Life Alyx using my PSVR 2 headset. That's neat. Like, I have a bigger library of games that I can access already having a PSVR 2 headset. That's neat. I guess if you're somebody that I think the tough thing that you're getting at here is the fact that if you're somebody who was not already in the market for PSVR 2 based on the library of games that are on the PlayStation already, this should have been a move to get those people in on the PC side, because it is, oh man, the best thing PSVR 2 has going for it is the hardware, right? It is these features that we're talking about. It is the haptic feedback. It is all the things that make it inherently PlayStation, the PSVR 2 headset. That should be the thing where you should be able to sell these, or you would hope that they're trying to sell these off of shelves by going, hey, now you can, this is opened up to PC. Like, there are so many more reasons to want this thing now. I think removing a lot of these features then makes me go, well, why wouldn't I just get one of the other headsets then in that case? I think on the PlayStation side, I don't know if Sony's sitting here like, yeah, we're trying to sell this thing to you. I think this is like a last ditch, all right, whatever we can do to give people any reason to use this thing, right? Or like, even for the people that already have it, hey, we're probably not going to support this thing that much more on the console side, so here's something for you to give you so that you're not necessarily, like, it's not a sunk cost for you, right? You can connect this to your PC. I'm happy about this, just based off of, cool, if there's a cool Steam VR game that gets announced that I want to check out, I have my way into it. But it's not, I guess this is way less exciting than I was hoping it would be.
It feels like such a lifeboat maneuver, is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Of like, again, yeah, you already have it, so do this. In the chat here, and again, I'm not Mr. VR, so I'm always happy to be wrong. Shelly says, okay, Greg, okay, cool. Separate all this fanboy nonsense, which I don't even understand what I'm a fanboy of at that point. I guess flat games. I know when I see the PSVR 2 community yelling and trying to be offensive to other gamers, they call the other side of play, they call PS5 games
flat gamers.
Flat gamers. Okay. PC VR headsets are 1,000 plus. The index is 1,500. PlayStation 2 is $400, which of course is with the $100 discount that's happening right now. Of course, you have to add in the $50 thing, but yeah, $450, whatever. Even at full price, $550. Okay, but where am I getting lost in the you know how much in the VR argument, the VR race, console race here, right?
Yeah.
I sit here and go, all right, well, what about the MetaQuest 3? MetaQuest 3 tethers with a single USB-C cable, right? And for $500 now, you can get MetaQuest 3, which includes Asgard's Wrath 2, which is like a 10 out of 10 from IGN and a million other people, right? And then it also has this whole thing to the rest of the world. Can you not use MetaQuest 3 to then link and play Half-Life Alyx? I don't think I'm wrong about that, right? Like, I'm seeing when I Google it over here.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would imagine PSVR 2 is probably the hardware is probably gonna give you better quality than the MetaQuest 3 on PC. I don't know by what, like, how big the jump is there.
Okay, I'm not wrong, says chat, so that's good enough. Yes, and again, if we're going into the fact of like, well, yes, PlayStation VR has better graphics and all that jazz, and the millions of things going in, less screen door effect, blah, 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 of course. But like, again, this is back to the argument we were having on the show before when we were talking about this of lowest common denominator. These VR games are being made for Quest, so it's like, even when you get the fancier version on your PlayStation VR headset, is it worth it when you could be getting it cheaper and doing this thing over here and then having, for my money, a platform that is being supported far better than PlayStation VR is being supported in terms of what Meta's doing for it. I mean, you can look at the exclusive games that you have there where even right now, we're on the verge of a Batman game. Will it be good? Will it not be? We'll find out at SGF probably, but or we know for sure they said that. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, the flag waving and literal fanboyism, tribalism, console war shit that is PlayStation VR 2 versus the world. Like, I go for it, but I mean, to have Undertaker getting out of the casket, is this going to sell PlayStation VR 2?
I think the ship has sailed for PSVR 2 as like as a platform in terms of it being as successful as you imagine PlayStation wants it to be, right? Like it being successful enough, I guess, to get that support from PlayStation on the first party game side, and for us to like look down the barrel of the future and go, yeah, and we're gonna get PSVR 3, and we're gonna have such a vibrant library going forward, right? Like for me personally, I don't feel that so far with PSVR 2. I think everything you're saying is correct in terms of the broad business scope of it and what it's doing or not doing for PlayStation. I think the thing that I see here is that I think VR in general is already so niche as a market, and I see this as a move of like, all right, like whatever we can do, just do for like, I guess, broadening the scope of what PSVR 2 can be. Because I know this is such a very specific case, but I can see the case for somebody who is, all right, like I have a PC and I have a PlayStation 5 and I want to get into VR, and like I can get a PSVR 2 so I can like play my PS5 VR games and Horizon Call of the Mountain and like Gran Turismo and stuff. But then also, yeah, like I have the option to play Half-Life Alyx with it. I know that is such a specific use case for somebody who is both PS5 and you have a good enough PC to do all that, and you have the desire to do all that. But I think at the very least, it's a step up than what we already had in terms of like, cool, you're buying a PSVR 2 and you're locked into the PlayStation ecosystem.
Of course, you're getting more use out of a product you're paying money for, which is great.
Exactly.
And again, there is the sunken cost of you already have a PlayStation VR 2. Great, now you can't. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's not that I find it hard to believe. It's just like us gamers love to waste our money on our toys. And so I just feel like if you're so into VR, you would already have. If you're so into VR, if you're so into PlayStation VR, I would feel then, do you have a rig that can then also be awesome for VR? Or were you so into PlayStation because it was a turnkey? I have a PlayStation, now I got the headset. Do you have to go build a PC? Or is it that? And then if you're so into VR, wouldn't you already have a headset and a bunch of different headsets that kind of already do this? Like if you're with meta questing and stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think by the time we dig into that, we're already talking about.
We're talking about here's gamers, here's PlayStation VR, here's
yeah. That like.
But damn, these people tweet. These people are in comments.
These people are passionate. But I think we've dug into like such a specific group of people that I think we are talking about people that probably already have a powerful PC, might have a PlayStation 5, and go, oh, I would like to maybe like I could see the argument for a group of people that have been wanting to pull the plug on PSVR 2, but they've been waiting for a Half-Life Alyx to come through, or they've been waiting for at least it not to look like a complete waste of money when you buy a PSVR 2. I think this does make it so that it's not a complete waste of money, right?
100%.
Hey, if PlayStation's not going to support it, maybe the PC development community is going to support it on the PC side, and that kind of opens it up to, okay, well, PSVR 2 is not dead in terms of like there is a I could see the reason why you would buy it now. Whereas before this, it's like, if anybody asked me, should I get a PSVR 2? I'm like, well, do you like these 4 games? Would you like an okay Horizon game, Resident Evil Village VR, RE4 VR, which I believe, you can correct me, I believe that's on PSVR 2. Gran Turismo, and then like, I don't know, do you want another place to play Beat Saber? You know, like there's such few reasons to try and push a PSVR 2, I guess peer-to-peer, not even from PlayStation. Now, yeah, like, cool, I can play PC games. I can play Half-Life Alyx. I could see myself in a timeline. I don't know if this is actually gonna happen, but there is maybe a good 20% chance that I boot up Half-Life Alyx because of this, right? I'd pick up my PSVR 2. Now, could I have already done it with my MetaQuest? Sure. Yeah. But like, maybe not everybody out there already has a MetaQuest. I'm saying there's a group of people that this works for.
Whenever there's PlayStation VR smoke, I immediately run to the PlayStation VR subreddit where the most hardcore people are, right? And so on this post, the top comment right now with 112 thumbs up, right, is OU812FR, who says, I'm the exact use case they had in mind for this. Already have a PlayStation VR 2 and want more games. Already have a beefy gaming PC, but don't want to buy another VR headset. This will allow me to marry the two for $60. Sweet. So that they're out there and they are doing it. Then there's a lot of people complaining about missing features.
Yeah, I don't think
those are the next ones, but it's like, and then one guy, my PC ain't good enough, but interested to see where the PC VR make it a headset.
Yeah, I don't think this saves the PSVR 2 on a business sense whatsoever, right?
Yeah,
if
exactly.
anything, it's like the nail in the coffin of, hey, fuck it, we give up. All right, play it how you want.
So put that pin in it and take this comment, which I think it loops back to where I am at least. Shiko 098 again on the PlayStation VR subreddit with 69 nice thumbs up. I know there are some understandably disappointed comments, but I'm actually pretty stoked for this. As a PC gamer that also has a PSVR 2 that's been collecting dust for a while, this does open up the possibility to actually getting my money's worth out of the headset and have some fun with more experimental VR titles that likely would never come to PlayStation VR 2.
And that's where I'm at.
I understand that. And so I think that's the biggest, as a commentator thing, maybe back to being fanboy. And even though I saw Shelly go through say, I wasn't calling you a fanboy. And I'm like, well, it's a convoluted argument then. It is, whatever. But as a PlayStation 5 flatter, right? I'm a flat gamer.
Flat PS5er.
Yeah, I love being a flat PS5er. Like, I guess that's it for me, is that I get and understand and appreciate opening it up. Of like, cool, you have this device that you spent $500 on. I don't think it's well supported on PlayStation 5. Here is the ability for $60 and whatever you have on your PC gaming rig to open it up to ability. That is a good move, and I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's more from the PlayStation side of like, again, like this is the death of the PlayStation VR 2 dream, right? Of like, I do not see PlayStation making more games for PlayStation VR first party.
Yeah.
I don't see them bending over backwards to make exclusive titles or make exclusive partnerships to get this. Because now you are opening it up of like, cool, it's just everything on Steam VR.
See, but for me, we were already there anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think we've already been on this line.
This is my point again, is that you and I have been saying that for a long time. As somebody wanted to throw it back in my face as if this weekend, they may have included you on it, of like, when we had a PS I Love You that was like, is PSVR 2 dead on arrival?
That's what my mentions were.
I muted the conversation. But it was that idea of like, they were throwing that at as if we've had a horse in the race forever that it should be dead. When again, it's just us looking at the tea leaves and giving you commentary and opinions, right? Where it's like, I don't know if PlayStation's committed to PlayStation VR 2. I don't know if this is actually going to go the way fans want it to go. And I think inarguably it has not gone the way fans wanted it to go, right? Are you playing this massively adopted PlayStation VR 2 thing that can support all these things? Look at Firewall. Again, a developer that made a great PlayStation VR game, right? They make Firewall Ultra and they end up closing up shop, right? Very quickly after that comes out because it just wasn't supported enough. That is not the dream of any gamer, let alone PlayStation VR 2 evangelist, right? I want this to be adopted. You wanted it to be adopted. It was not adopted, and I believe it was not adopted because PlayStation got cold feet on the run up to this. And I think that was pretty obvious and evident. And you have another fucking Vita on your hand where it was, hey, here's a great launch lineup. Arguably. Yeah. And then it's like, cool, we're never making anything for this again. Everyone else will support it around us and we won't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a shitty situation, IMO.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think the only thing that I'll come in with is that I think we've been here already for a minute with PSVR 2, which I know you know, but I think VR as a space is so niche, and so like I don't think the dream of VR as it was, let's say, a decade ago when we were all kind of like excited for what VR can be, when we were talking about when Beat Saber was new and we were like, yo,
that first kind of funny from GDC when we were on our own and we did it from Patreon's office.
When we were talking about the hype of VR, I think overall VR just hasn't reached that, and I don't know if it has the potential to reach that further beyond where we're already at. I think maybe we've already seen the peak of what VR has to offer with things like Asgard's Wrath 2 or things like fuck it, I'll put Gran Turismo up in there. I think Gran Turismo was incredible, right? Or like Beat Saber and stuff like that, right? Or Astrobot. I think we have kind of reached that like Truman Show edge of the world. Like, all right, this is what the thing can do. And I think right now for VR to be a lively, like a lively, I guess, space of games, I think you need to be able to go, all right, let's just have it all work together, right? Like I think 100%. PSVR 2 needs to be on PC.
Everybody's got to band together. I think and I think that's what's interesting, where it's like, the exclusive games need to no longer be exclusive. Like you have to have those windows and move. Like this meta thing, right? With them doing Batman with camouflage, right? That's a fascinating little thing because, of course, Meta bought camouflage. When they did that, right, the formerly exclusive Iron Man VR game, they were able to, that camouflage made for PlayStation, right? They were able to bring over to MetaQuest, right, and have it there. I wonder with this Arkham game, is this going to have an exclusive window that then they would bring to PlayStation VR2, or is PlayStation like, we don't really care, don't worry, you know what I mean? Like we don't need to play ball, or maybe the agreement was made so long ago when they did this that they were like, maybe they will do it there.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing about this, even though half the features of PSVR 2 are missing, is that I could see, and not even I can see, guaranteed, years and years down the line, this shit is going to get busted wide open in terms of
drivers and updates and people hacking, and
the PC community is going to bust this thing open, get those features working. And I do think that this provides longevity for the people that really do care. I think right now on the business side, none of this shit is making sense. What I'm saying in terms of, I think VR needs to, like the console or the manufacturers, right, the hardware manufacturers and like the Steams of the world and all this shit need to band together to make this thing work. I think it really is. All right, I think this is PlayStation. I don't know if purposely, but like I think it's going to result in them being like, all right, community, here are the keys. Do whatever you want to with it, right? Like have like fucking play whatever PC games 10 years down the line is going to get jailbroken and you're going to be able to play whatever the fuck. And I think VR is going to get to the natural place that it needs to be. I don't think it's ever going to be big. I don't think it's ever going to be super duper mainstream, but I think this is a step for the community to have its hands on it, right? And go, all right, cool. We'll take it and run wherever we're going to go with it.
Let's get some super chats in here. It's a very lively day whenever we talk about PlayStation VR and VR in general. Of course, to be part of the chat, you can super chat on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, just like Onimus Prime did. Listen, fuck VR, it's a dead-end IMO. But are PSVR 2 fans not that dissimilar to Greg, once championing the Vita? PlayStation should have gotten into VR. So the difference here is that when I was championing the Vita and saying, I love the Vita, I was also saying PlayStation's not supporting it. And the audience said, you're right, Greg, we're with you. And now it's PlayStation VR. I'm like, PlayStation VR 2 is great. PlayStation's not supporting it. And everybody comes at me and goes, shut up, you fucking fanboy. You flatter. Get out of here.
Flatter is really funny.
I don't know if I've seen it as a derogatory term. I've seen them calling games flat, but now I'm definitely a flatter.
Fucking flat player.
PS5 flatter. Oh, God. War Table Entertainment super chats and says, it seems to me that Meta and other companies are doing better at VR than PlayStation. PlayStation tried, and just like Microsoft Phone, it's going to be gone. Yeah. I think that's exactly what we're talking about, right? Where I think, as I said in the lead up to this, again, where I was called a flatter and yelled at and people threw stones at me. And I was like, I've lived through this twice with the PlayStation Move and the Vita. And I guess the PSP, stop hitting me with stones. It was the idea of like, this doesn't look like PlayStation's behind this. This doesn't look like this is something PlayStation believes in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But everyone wanted to beat me with stones about it. We'll see what happens. Foxy Steve with the super chat says, I would love to know what Sony's measure of success is for VR2. Everything about VR2's launch makes it feel like a beta test. It's almost like the roles of VR2 and 1 are reversed. And again, where I go back to in the conversations that I know I've said a million times, I just feel like the PlayStation that launched VR1 is a far different PlayStation than where we launched VR2. And I think in the time of developing and releasing PlayStation VR2, PlayStation really changed courses on who they wanted to be and what was happening, and what a success was, which makes sense because that's video games, especially in the year of our Lord 2024.
It's so funny because what was it, Shuhei? That was like PSVR2 is essentially going to be the PS2 to the PSVR1's PS1.
Not even. Yeah. What he said when we were launching PlayStation VR1 was like, and I forget what it was, the 25th anniversary, 20th anniversary of PlayStation at the time, and he's like, everyone needs to understand this is a PlayStation 1 launch.
Gotcha.
We are launching something. This is not going to get out in there, and they did a great job of setting expectations.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation VR2, just nobody fucking talked about it.
And it's funny because I look at PSVR 1 so fondly in terms of the software.
Yeah.
You know, when I think of it, I think of Tetris Effect, I think of Beat Saber, I think of Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Yeah.
I think of Trover Saves the Universe, Blood and Truth, and a list of Moss, a list of Thumper. There's like a list of games where I'm like, man, PSVR 1 fucked. And like that for me is also like almost another Vita, even though I think PSVR 1 in PlayStation's eyes probably more of a success than Vita even was. But there was an element to it where it felt niche, but like if you knew, you knew. PSVR 2, both of us have PSVR 2s, and like we have access to the library, but there's not even that if you know factor.
And that would be the thing where you come around, where I think the audience that's so dedicated to PlayStation VR2, and I love and respect your admiration for this device, would argue, no, but there are, and they would throw out your Resident Evil, your Gran Turismo, but then they would start throwing out Call of Mountain, and then they would get really into what I think are fine titles, but not titles that are Thumper, not titles that are Tetris Effect, not titles that are like oh shit, this motivates me to put the headset on.
The one game that it's funny because some of the most fun I've had with PSVR 2 has been playing PSVR 1 ports. Like I'm playing Thumper on PSVR 2. I was like, oh, this is fucking fantastic. But yeah, like the one title I remember, evangelizing, and it was more so you evangelizing, but I was evangelizing alongside you, was Before Your Eyes.
Yeah.
And like that was like the one. I wish there were more of those. But yeah, it does feel like we kind of hit a wall in terms of what we can expect out of it. I'm with you that most of the titles that it feels like we're getting do feel more like experiences or just aren't hitting in that fresh way.
I want to get through some of these comments. Jamie super chats and says Alex is being hinted at for PS5 Summer Games Fest. I have not seen that hint. I would urge you to send it to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Olive Party says the PC adapter is for me. I refuse to get a Meta device and haven't been able to justify buying an Index. My PC has a 4090. Well, I'm not sure if 4090 is good or bad. If it's bad, please go to Geek Squad and have them diagnose that problem. If it's good for you. And that's great.
4090 is pretty good. It's good.
Yeah,
one of them cards. It's one of them cards
whatever,
they got.
You know what I mean? Meta, and then the final one on this line of questioning. Mulin says, Meta and Quest 2 store support this year. Meta and Quest 2 store support this year. 5 years lifespans on these VR storefronts.
We got a caveman right
PSVR is for... This has got to be a joke, right? This has got to be a fucking joke, right? I'll reread it. Meta and Quest 2 store support this year. 5 years lifespans on these VR storefronts. PCVR is forever. Meta's biggest con is no future proof. PS and PC forever.
For EV is what they wrote. And yeah, for people listening, watching, I'm reading as he's reading. That's exactly how it's written out.
God bless you.
But yeah,
live your life. Triple RPD gets in real quick too. It's a little funny how Meta's biggest games are from Ready at Dawn and Sanzaru. They worked closely with Sony in the past. Yes, they did. Of course, Ready at Dawn doing the PSP God of War games, and of course The Order, and then Sanzaru doing the Sly trilogy, and then Sly 4, right? Thieves in Time. So yeah, a lot of stuff there that PlayStation let slip through their fingers. Maybe because again, if they were, let's say they brought those guys in house and then they also did VR stuff, I'm sure they would be closed by now, just like London Studio. Rest in peace.
I keep forgetting London Studios closed, and I remember it. I'm like, damn it. I kind of wanted to see what their fantasy
100%.
London thing was going to be.
100%.
And also, just give me another Blood and Truth. God damn it. I like Blood and Truth.
Sorry it happened this way to you. But what I'm not sorry about is all of you supporting us and letting us argue with you many a time about video games, because it's fun to do and we love hanging out with you. If you love hanging out with us, pick up that Kind of Funny membership. Of course, I'm sure you want all of our shows ad-free, especially in this SGF season. Of course, I'm sure you want to watch us record things live, just like the Venom trailer and that there Kind of Funny podcast this afternoon. And of course, you want to get my thoughts on Gregway each and every day. However, you're not using your Kind of Funny membership benefits right now, so here's a word from our sponsor. This episode of Kinda Funny is brought to you by Punkle, the developers behind Vampire Survivors. Did you know that Vampire Survivors is out on just about everything? That's right, you can play it this very second on PC, Xbox, Switch, and mobile. And if that wasn't enough, it's coming to PlayStation this summer with a Platinum Trophy, and I just so happen to be stoked. Why? Because it's awesome! Vampire Survivors is a gothic horror casual game with roguelike elements where your choices can allow you to quickly snowball against the hundreds of monsters that get thrown at you. Mow down thousands of night creatures and survive until dawn. Pick your character, spend your gold on power-ups, and get to being the bullet hell in the game that features absolutely zero vampires. Punkle even just released the new DLC Operation Guns featuring the classic and timeless Konami IP, Contra. We've been talking about this game for years, so there's no reason not to support it now. It's as affordable as a cup of coffee. Get Vampire Survivors on your platform of choice this very second, and thank Punkle for sponsoring Kinda Funny. Number 2 on the Roper Report, quote, "We will not be the Last of Us studio forever," end quote. Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann says. This is Chris Scullion over at VGC. Neil Druckmann has said Naughty Dog will not be mainly focused on The Last of Us for the rest of its existence. Since the original release of The Last of Us in 2013, the studio has released a total of 6 separate The Last of Us titles, including 2 separate games, a DLC spin-off, a remake, and 2 remasters. Druckmann also executive produced The Last of Us TV show, as well as writing and directing some episodes. A second season is coming in 2025. However, despite the success of the franchise, Druckmann has told the Los Angeles Times that it will not be Naughty Dog's sole focus going forward. Quote, "I promise you, we will not be the Last of Us studio forever," end quote. Druckmann also said that numerous games, including, quote, "multiple single-player projects," end quote, are currently in development at Naughty Dog, but stressed that while they won't be all the Last of Us titles, they will have a similar goal. Quote, "We create experiences that are steeped in story and character, especially relationships. The stories have some sort of philosophical core that everything is going to revolve around and feed into," end quote.
You just explain what a story is.
Our games will have themes.
Games have a core that revolves around.
Put up or shut up.
My thing is like, it's gonna be a dumb question, but like, how long is forever? Because it's already been the Last of Us studio for 11 years,
no.
Which in my eyes is already forever. Like, that's the thing about game development nowadays, where, and this isn't a Naughty Dog thing. This goes for like pretty much any AAA developer that like has games that like have an extreme amount of production and budget to them. Like, I think about this with Sony Santa Monica. I think about it with Bethesda, where it's like, I look at Bethesda right now as like, cool, your next however many years is going to be Elder Scrolls. Like, you're going to be working on Elder Scrolls forever, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Not
Fallout.
If you want a franchise, if you want to have a franchise, especially like Sucker Punch, they're going to be the Ghost of Tsushima studio for like probably 15 years. Video game development is just, it's untenable right now, right? Like, you're going to be working on the same projects for what feels like forever to a lot of people.
Do you think the next game they're working on right now at Naughty Dog is Last of Us Part 3?
No, but I don't think we're gonna get the next game from Naughty Dog for like what, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know. I think after whatever that game that is, they're gonna go back to Last of Us 3, and that's gonna be the next, I don't know, like 7 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's not on Naughty Dog, right? It's not that Naughty Dog doesn't want to make other games, and obviously in the last 11 years they've also put out a couple of Uncharted as well, right? But yeah, like, I think I guess my immediate reaction to Neil being like, we're not going to be the Last of Us studio forever is like, I'm just like, you've already been the Last of Us studio forever, and you're going to be for a lot longer.
Yeah, it's complicated. I mean, forever is a weird terminology, right? Especially when you're talking about how time moves right now and how fast games move or don't move, right?
Yeah.
How fast the industry moves. It'll be interesting to see if they can ever get out from the shadow of The Last of Us, right? Because I feel like whenever you have a game that hits like this, and those are few and far between, right? It's always going to be that comparison to it, right? I would say, it's honestly few and far between in terms of comparisons, but I would jump to BioWare and Mass Effect, where when you put out a game that resonates with people, that you work on for so long, that people get tattoos and connections to, and not even connections to the core of the story and all the revolving themes, right? But characters and moments and choices and things like that then becomes a looming shadow you will be put up to for the rest of existence. And not only will it be Naughty Dog as a brand, it's going to be everybody who goes to work at Naughty Dog, right? And it is the BioWare question of, well, are you the good BioWare or the bad BioWare, right? And like, since Mass Effect 3's finale, as you know, divisive as it was, there's been that it was Anthem, it's this, it's that. Well, who's still there? Leaders leave and then come back and then leave again. And like, what do you see the fruits of those labors? Like, what the next decade of Naughty Dog is going to look like in terms of production is probably going to be, if we're lucky, 2 games.
Yeah.
If more realistically, it's probably going to be 1 game and then the announcement of another.
Yeah. That's
crazy. That, again, it's untenable and that's how it's got to be. But like, again, that's what video game development has become. So forever is such a weird terminology of like, Naughty Dog still is the Jack and Daxter studio, but it's not. But it is, but it's not. You know, it's a weird. I don't know. The whole conversation's weird in terms of how relative time is.
I think the thing with The Last of Us is that you're right in terms of when Naughty Dog releases their next game, will it live in the shadow of The Last of Us? I think even when we bring in Uncharted into the mix, Last of Us just has like this a bigger thing to it that makes it feel like that is, when I think of Naughty Dog, I think of Last of Us. Yeah. And I know that doesn't go for every single person, right? I'm sure if somebody's an Uncharted fan, they think of Uncharted, or if they're a Jack and Daxter fan, but Jack and Daxter was so long ago, right? But like, when I think of the biggest projects from Naughty Dog, or the most impactful projects, not even just in terms of quality, but in terms of conversation and in terms of how they hit, Last of Us, Last of Us 2, Last of Us TV show. As we go forward, we're going to get Last of Us TV shows season 2. Again, in the next 10 years, we'll see if we get The Last of Us part 3, right? Like, it's a likely thing, if not, I guess, maybe 12 or 13 years, whenever we get that. I think Naughty Dog is going to be Last of Us for quite a bit longer, even in releasing a new IP. I don't think that's automatically going to be like, see, we're not Last of Us anymore. We have 1 game that's not The Last of Us. It's like,
sure.
No, you're going to have Last of Us Part 3. You're going to have Last of Us Part 3 remastered. You're going to remake Last of Us 2. I think that is the studio's identity. I'm excited to see, can you break out of that when you make your new IP? Is it going to be something where it is, oh, fuck, like, this is different. This is standout. I really hope so. But yeah, I think Last of Us is such a powerful, like, I guess just very present IP that it's hard to see a Naughty Dog beyond The Last of Us.
Beyond. Actually, a good transition to what I want to say, right? I remember for years on Podcast Beyond saying, and this is very much in the eye of the beholder, but let's step away from our opinions about Uncharted 3 or Last of Us Part 2. But I remember being like, well, Naughty Dog's got to miss eventually, right? Like, they've got to have the game that is a flat 8, that is a 7.5, that nobody like loves, right? And again, whether you agree with me that Uncharted 3 is a 10 or not, we can say it's a quality game, right? And it's like on another level in terms of what it was compared to. And same with Last of Us Part 2. Maybe you hate the story, maybe you don't, like what, but like, come on now, we're talking about how this game played and looked and what it did fidelity. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? It's that idea of like, is the next one going, and it's interesting because the next one was going to be the multiplayer game that clearly wasn't going to be what they wanted and wasn't coming together the way they wanted it to, so they kill it. So you don't get that. But then, yeah, what does that mean for the next new IP, the next thing, and how can it live up to any of these expectations and go on that way?
Yeah.
It's, obviously,
I think the next one is going to be, especially it being a new IP, potentially. I hope it's a new IP.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the most open to criticism a Naughty Dog game is going to be at launch, right? I think Last of Us 2 did separate people in terms of, did you love it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? I know a lot of people hate Last of Us 2 for the wrong reasons, but there are plenty of people that like look at the writing or look at like how they build the characters critically and are like, I just didn't like either what this game had to say or how it said it and all these things. And I think, and I'm very excited about this. I think with video games and with critique especially, we've gotten far enough into the lifespan of video games where people are willing to be more critical of storytelling and things that go beyond, oh, this game looks beautiful, 10 out of 10, or this game is fun when I hit things and there's a lot of blood splatter and detail, 10 out of 10, right? Like, I think people are willing to grapple with the art of video games way more, or the narrative aspects of video games way more, and go, hey, like, the gameplay is fun, but fuck, like, this story is doing something, and we got to really grapple with this. And I didn't like this, and this. 7 out of 10,
which I love.
Yeah, which I love, right? And I think that's how it should be. I think what Naughty Dog's next game is going to be way more open to that, because people put Naughty Dog now on a certain pedestal, which is, all right, people treat you like you're the greatest storytellers of all time.
Fucking prove it.
Yeah, fucking prove it. Make another game that's going to be the best story of all time.
And imagine then if they do hit it and then Neil leaves. Right? You know what I mean? Like, think about and then granted, there's been Naughty Dog games during this tenure that haven't been Neil Druckmann games. I don't mean that. But just the fact of, like, to follow all this up, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But speaking of following up, how will Geoff Keighley follow up on all these SGF rumors? Number 3, Geoff Keighley says, quote, people are setting themselves up for failure, end quote, when asked about Kingdom Hearts 4 at SGF. This is Wesley LeBlanc over at Game Informer. There's a clip here. How long is the clip? Should we watch it?
It's like a minute and a half. We can watch it.
27 seconds.
Oh, never mind.
Let's watch 27.
I watched it yesterday. It felt like a minute and a half.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I see lots of people keep asking about Kingdom Hearts. I don't know why. I think because we did Final Fantasy Rebirth last year or something like that. But yeah, it's people are setting themselves up for failure, but it's you guys can keep hoping.
I know he just kind of misspoke with but there's just something ominous about people are setting themselves up for failure.
I will say, I think in my mind it was a minute and a half, because I watched this clip, or I listened to this
You
clip.
just let it go over.
Yeah,
and
like
over
it
and
was
over
yesterday
again.
as I was cooking, and so like I just hit play, and like I let it go one replay, because of the way the clip starts, it's him just being like, yeah. And so I thought it was a continuation. Then he starts talking again. I'm like, oh, this is him saying what he just said.
Let me just give you the intro from Wesley's article. This year's Summer Game Fest showcase is happening this week on Friday, June 7th. Aside, of course, we will be pre-showing it, watching live along with you, and then doing a GameScast post-show for you. And with more than 55 studios and publishers set to be featured at the event this year, fans have been speculating on what they might see. That includes Kingdom Hearts fans who have been hoping there to see something related to Kingdom Hearts 4 at SGF this year, given it's been more than 2 years since the reveal. However, Geoff said they should lower their expectations.
Can I bring in a tweet from
I would love a tweet. One
of those accounts on Twitter that's like always tweeting new, like gaming news, or like compiling fun details or whatever. Pio on Twitter, PYO on Twitter, they tweeted out how Geoff Keighley did a Q&A about Summer Game Fest, and then bullet pointed it saying, confirms no Kingdom Hearts 4, confirms no Wolf Among Us 2. Hype level is at an 8. Hype level is 8 out of 10 for this show for him, which I think is interesting. I want to get back to. Has not decided what shoes to reveal yet. I don't know what that means.
Geoff always wears nice shoes, remember?
I didn't know that.
It's one of those things Tim always, it's Jordan 75,000s.
Oh.
Shut the fuck up.
The show is largely focused on announced stuff. The show on Friday will be about 2 hours, not focused on games that are way off like 2026 or 2027. And he also says that there's no big one more thing.
Yeah, okay.
And so
which sounds on par with what SGF has been. No?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like I feel
like there have been like the Elden Ring reveal felt big. I feel like usually Geoff preps us for when it's going to be like a mid, like, all right, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like there's sometimes where he's like, I feel pretty good about this one. And then he'll have some good shit in there.
Well, I feel good about it. It's SGF season. I am NDA'd to hell in a lot of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel good about this. This is going to be a good show. I don't know what's on the show or what's not on the show, but it's like, I'm not concerned that this is going to be a fucking dud, but I'm also not like, I don't think that Geoff Keighley and SGF have had the year of dreams yet. Okay. They haven't had that presentation where it's like, they haven't had it's weird because I'm not the historian, right? Where everything starts going together. And even when they just haven't had the holy fucking shit, what am I watching? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? That's just not what I expect from SGF. I feel like every SGF we get to the review and it's like, yeah, it was a pretty good show. And I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Especially, again, I think one of the interesting call-outs that doesn't get called out enough, with more than 55 studios and publishers. That's a lot of fucking studios and publishers. This is going to be, as always, a thing that moves and moves and moves. And then you'll get to that midway, maybe even 3/4 of the way in, where you'll get a lot of ads. Here are the ads of everything that are sponsoring it. And it's all the gacha games and all this different Hoyoverse stuff. And no offense to them.
How dare you?
Thanks for paying the bills or whatever.
You don't want to see
all right, cool. That's when I'll go pee and we'll come back and you know what's going on. It's blah, blah. It's like, it's what it is. Over here, Vince Patel says, Geoff, if you don't have the stuff for a banger 2-hour show, don't make it a 2-hour show. Again, I think they're gonna have a great show, a good show. Like I'm not worried about them having a banger show is always so hard to do, and if you're trying to do a banger show, that's when you want to.
I think this is why, like, you know, and we do this ourselves. Where we rate the shows after every single one, right? And like, I get sometimes annoyed with chat how during a show chat is 5 out of 10. Oh, it's 6 out of 2. Oh, it's a 6 out of 2. It's a 4 out of 5. Oh man, if the guys give it bigger than a 3 out of 5, like, oh man, they're crazy.
Rioting.
I'll fucking riot. And I'm like, I don't really enjoy rating shows because shows are just beholden to what they are. Summer Game Fest is a 2-hour thing, and they're going to get the games they're going to get, and they're just going to show us a bunch of marketing material and trailers. And it's hard for me to go look at that, and I'm like, yeah, 10 out of 10. Like, I feel like that's the whole point of this is just marketing. And so, like, when it is, like, it's a 2-hour show, and Geoff's trying to temper our expectations, I can't get mad to where when I watch it, and I'm like, all right, it was okay. You know, like, it's hard for me to get riled up about that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people get riled up about it, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like it's fine to have an okay showcase.
Yeah, let's just hang out and watch cool stuff.
Yeah.
Bless. No matter what, on Friday, can you give your score 6 out of 2?
I got you.
SGF?
Yeah, 6 out of 2.
Thank you.
That was yesterday's date.
It was. I think that's why it was stuck in my head. I was thinking a lot about yesterday.
Number 4 on the Roper Report. Take-Two is quietly killing Private Division. This is the one, the only, the award-winning Rebecca Valentine at IGN.com. Even though this says VGC, but that's not correct, right?
That's correct. It's IGN.
Just making sure. Of course, I read this over the weekend. It went live late on Friday. We're going to read excerpt from it. You should go do that. It's kind of a required reading. We already talked a bit about the Private Division stuff, but it's even worse than what you thought. In recent weeks, reports have surfaced that Take-Two is shuttering Kerbal Space Program 2 developer Intercept Games and Ollie Ollie World developer Roll7. Now, IGN has learned that not only are these closures imminent, but they are part of a larger move by Take-Two to either sell off or shut down the entirety of its indie label, Private Division. Earlier this month, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick told IGN that Take-Two, quote, didn't shutter its owned indie studios, Intercept Games and Roll7. At the time, that was technically true. Both the studios are currently operational, but they won't be for long. Speaking to multiple anonymous sources familiar with the matter, IGN has independently confirmed that Intercept Games is set to close on June 28th, following a notice period required by Washington State's WARN Act. Roll7 2 is similarly winding down, though a small team remains to tie up loose ends. Meanwhile, Take-Two wants to offload Private Division one way or another. In February, IGN understands employees were told layoffs were imminent, but not given specifics on how many, why, or what was happening. Then at the end of April, employees of the label were told by management that Take-Two would no longer support Private Division, at which time all the staff were laid off. A small crew remains to support the remaining announced games, which Private Division has publishing deals. Moon Studios' No Rest for the Wicked, which is currently in early access, Weta Workshop's Tales of the Shire, and an untitled project from Game Freak. Take-Two has backed out of 2 other publishing deals it had previously agreed to under the label. One previously reported deal was with the Bloober team, and another deal was with the Ghost Runner developer One More Level. It goes on like this. And again, required reading to go in because it's fucking crazy.
The thing I don't understand is how you have these deals to publish games with Moon Studios.
And No Rest for the Wicked is awesome.
Yeah.
Like I guess
it's hot right now.
Yeah. Full disclosure, we had done a sponsorship with them for their launch stream, but that was honestly spurred on by how much Andy was into it at beta.
Yeah.
Where they were like, oh, we'd love to do something with you guys. Like, come on.
So you have that, right? The developers who did Ori and the Blind Forest
and it's fucking awesome.
You have Tales of the Shire, a cool looking Lord of the Rings game that I see a lot of people are excited about. You have an untitled game from Game Freak. You have a potential deal with the Ghost Runner developer. You have fucking Kerbal. You have like a really good roster of games here, and you go, no, let's fucking shut it all down. Let's not do it. I don't understand how you make that decision.
Let me tell you about bean counters.
Yeah.
And a giant Take-Two.
But like, you can't make that profitable? Those games that I just named,
you
can't
can
make
that profitable, but that much profit when they want this much profit because they're used to GTA. That's the thing.
That's nuts to me.
Because again, I think what is a success to us as just gamers or a small business is far different for a Take-Two when they have all these fucking stock reports they have to go out and Strauss Zelnick's fucking talking about the quarterlies and all that shit. I'm with you. It fucking sucks. This is the problem with it, right? And this is the problem with why it's so hard to trust any corporation when they're like, oh, we're going to get into this. We're going to do this. We're going to do small indie publishing. We're going to do a games media label. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's like Rolling Stone, right, just launched a new gaming vertical, right? And it's like, you guys shuttered one like less than 5 years ago or whatever. What the fuck are you doing? Like, this is the same thing of somebody's idea. It'll go do the thing. It won't do as much money as people want to, and they'll close it up.
Yeah.
This sucks. But I hope No Rest for the Wicked
Somebody
gets
better
supported
scoop
all the way
this
through.
up. I understand that, like, I know this shit is expensive, but that roster of games right there, that roster of developers, that's a fucking gold mine.
Yeah. I watched that documentary, Movie Crash, on Max or whatever, and like they made it seem really easy to start businesses and get funding. So you and me should get VC, and we should go.
Listen,
do this.
dude, if you want to scoop up these games, I'm down.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I have as much capital.
Well, no, this is the whole thing. These guys didn't have any capital. They just went and got VC people, and I guess VC people are dumb. You can just tell them anything, and you get their money.
I do listen.
We get one person. We get one VC person with money. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need because he'll understand. And then we keep it low. And then the profit margins would be decent, right?
I do have a weird amount of liquid just sitting around.
Give me the one. What the fuck does the liquid have to do?
Don't worry about it.
Give me the one. Hey, everybody. It's Greg Miller and Blessing from I gave him. Anyways, we're going to launch. We want to start a game label where we buy cool games like No Rest for the Wicked and work with the Ghost Runner people and like games that are going to be good probably and that'll be really successful probably, right? Like the quality will be there. So this is a video for any venture capitalist who's looking for an investment. Are you going to make a gajillion dollars? No. And frankly, I don't know how much money you will make, period, but we'll make some.
At least $5.
We'll make a little bit of money and you'll help some people out. What the fuck? Come on. This is how I convinced one of my college friends to move in with us in our shitty house. Come on.
Listen, Donkey did it. It's going real good for him. You think
I could be the next Donkey?
Listen, do we have as good a taste as Donkey?
Oh, No Rest for the Wicked is come on.
Like,
Moon Studios, that's a great, yes, we have that taste.
He published Animal Well.
Number 5 on the road. I don't know. We would have
right
passed
there.
on Animal. We would have passed on Animal.
No, we wouldn't have passed. I would have seen.
Well, I have more
potential in it.
shares than you.
That's fair. You probably do.
What do you mean probably? We just made up this company. Number 5, Ubisoft Toronto is working on Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. What the fuck? In a tweet they wrote, Ubisoft Toronto is joining the development of the remake of Prince of Persia The Sands of Time. We're excited to rewind time and bring our studio's creativity, expertise, and updated tech to refresh this beloved classic with our partners at Ubisoft Montreal. What? Of course, Ubisoft Toronto, you can see Watch Dogs Legion, Far Cry 6.
They're working on the new Splinter Cell remake.
Okay.
I put in the Slack and like the reply to this that this game is just collecting Ubisoft Studios like Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
It's nuts how many people have touched this game.
Just, I mean, for real. Well, I mean, like,
what are they cooking over there?
and the thing about it is, like, if you go through it and click on it or whatever, like, they follow up with, like, many people were hiring for positions for it or whatever. So, like,
What's
are
going
we
on?
back to scratch on this fucking game?
Listen, I know I'm going to be the minority in saying this. You don't have to make this game.
Yeah, I know. I feel like at this point, like, you know what I mean? This is a Beyond Good and Evil 2 situation. Just stop.
Yeah.
You tried. It didn't work.
Let's make another Metroidvania. People are liking the Metroidvania.
See, and again, this is where our publishing label comes in.
Yeah.
Where we would pass on this. Like, no, this game is just gestating in hell. We're fine. We don't need that.
It's been 5 decades. They've been making a remake. Before the first game even came out, they were making this thing.
Blessing.
Greg.
Us starting our own game publishing label is pretty big news. But frankly, I'm sick of the big news. I'm sick of all this huge SGF news. If I wanted something smaller, say what came to the smallest little news items of the day, where would I go?
We'd go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about. I got some liquid if you need it.
You have to explain that to me over here.
Like
Numbers,
liquid cash.
huh?
Liquid cash. Like cash is sitting around.
Oh.
You thought I meant literal liquid?
I don't know. Yeah.
I honestly thought, like, I knew what you meant, but I thought you were doing like a play on words and like you had weird liquid around you.
No, like if I need to invest, like I got stuff.
You
to
are
work with.
liquid. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 6, the Wii News from VGC. Ubisoft's free-to-play shooter X Defiant could be set to receive content based on Assassin's Creed, The Crew, and Rabbids. That's according to content data mined from the game by X-user Rogue XT. This is via Kotaku, who has been sharing alleged files from the game online. I'm shocked.
Wow.
Ubisoft's great about crossing all their shit over. Don't worry about that. For Mario 64, official modding support is coming to Baldur's Gate 3 PC in September. The closed alpha test begins today, and the closed beta in July. From Shinobi, Just Cause developer Avalanche Studio is laying off 50 workers, or around 9% of the company, and closing its studios in New York and Montreal. Fuck! Avalanche says it, quote, believes it's necessary to ensure a stable and sustainable future. Goddamn.
They just announced a movie last week. Just Cause movie.
That sucks.
I know it's very unrelated, but like,
Yeah.
interesting.
Kena Bridge of Spirits is coming to Xbox on August 15th. And then Metal Slug Tactics launches fall 2024 on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. I assume it's coming to S2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It wasn't on there, but
I did this. Yeah. It said Xbox Series, so I just added the X.
I like that. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, you can be part of the show with your super chats. We had a bunch of off-topic ones because you're in there doing it, and I like it a lot. CJ says, any chance we get an interview with Team Asobi? I mean, we would fucking love that. Team Asobi, hit us up. Not even to publish your next game. Just come on through. No, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to even ask that. Not going to ask that one.
This one from Mike Wells. He says, love listening to KFD on my days hagged.
Hey, Puzzle Poppy, this comes from Raymond. What's your favorite puzzle game? I like The Witness, Relicta, and Cube 2.
I mean, it's an obvious answer, but Portal 2. If I'm
yeah,
going, if I want to list in order, I would say Portal 2, The Witness, Inside, Manful Garden.
Okay.
I'll stop there.
Appreciate it. Jackson says, SGF will be the first press conference I attend in person. Genuinely curious. Do I need to dress up, or should I wear my shirt of Cloud in front of a McDonald's? Love the show. Are you working it, or are you just going as a fan?
Also, are you Roger?
Yeah, I don't know the people who have the Cloud shirt at McDonald's, but that's good. If you're just as a fan, wear whatever the fuck you want. Go have fun.
It's not Game Awards.
If you're trying to work, yeah, I would maybe, put on a collared shirt, a polo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm wearing at SGF. I'm probably wearing a Bluey shirt, but whatever. Jamie says Naughty Dog must be working on The Last of Us Part 3 because Neil said he didn't want the TV show to do a Game of Thrones and jump ahead. I mean,
I'm still fascinated
even if
by
they're
how-
working on Last of Us 3, I doubt they're going to get Last of Us 3 out.
We're going to be on season 9 of the TV show by the time we
yeah.
get to that point.
CJ says Neil said they are currently working on multiple games. I actually think their next 2 games won't be that far apart. Well, I mean, there's a big difference, and I know you know this, between production and pre-production, or pre-production and production.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'm
sure they have a lot of different ideas out there.
when Bethesda was working on Starfield.
Bethesda's working on multiple games
I'm sure
right now
they're
as well.
like, yeah, we're working on multiple games. Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. Elder Scrolls 6 is a twinkle in Todd Howard's eye.
And I'm sure you understood, but Mike Wells super chats again to say, I meant my days off.
No, I know.
No, we understood, Mike. We were just having some fun with you. Because that's what we do here on Kind of Funny, where we're all about live talk shows. This episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily has come to an end, but you don't need to go anywhere. We're going to record the Kind of Funny Gamescast, where we do our Summer Game Fest press conference predictions, all for your listening and viewing pleasure. Of course, right after that, on Patreon, Tim and I will react to the that's not right. The Venom trailer that dropped. I haven't seen
Were
it.
you going to say Bad Batch? What were you going to say?
I was going to say Bad Boys.
Oh,
But no, I just
yeah.
got Martin Lawrence and Will Smith on the brain. Ha 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 ha. And then
Will Smith does be saying that. Yeah.
ha ha ha. And then but if you don't want to come to Patreon and watch that, you can go over to Twitch and watch them kick off and return to Elden Ring. Lots of fun stuff happening over there. One you're wrong here. AK says, detail worth noting in the Private Division story. Take Two is in discussions to sell off Private Division through talks facilitated by Moon Studios. Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the story that we read.
Yeah, I didn't. Whatever.
We just didn't get to that part.
Oh yeah. Okay. And again, remember, we're live every day. Everything's happening. Live talk shows all the time. You don't need to go anywhere else. If you're a podcast listener for the Kind of Funny podcast, you can use your membership to watch that live in the afternoon. I'll be there. I'm sure I'll be tired and crazy because that's what I do. Okay, we did it. That's the thing. That's the show. That's the fun stuff.
That's KFGD.
Ladies and gentlemen, each and every weekday, live, everywhere. You know that. Like, subscribe, share, support with that Kind of Funny membership. And know that until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.